Alright, so this video, it's just a bit of fun really. Because I was talking, like in the last video I was talking about this guitar, this Schecter Damien Platinum. And I just thought, because like a few of you actually commented on this this Ibanez, which is it's an iron label. A few of you have seen me using this and thought, oh, that looks good. So I just thought I'd talk you through like some of the differences. Maybe you're thinking about getting a 7-string, and you just don't know what to look for. Apart from, oh, it's got 7 strings rather than 6 strings. And what's the advantage of that over just getting 6? Isn't it more confusing just having that extra string to think about? Maybe. Right. Anyway, so what I thought we'd do, I think we'll start with the Ibanez, because I've had this one for the longest. So yeah, so it's an iron label. There's some weird, was it RG something 7? I can't read the rest of it. But this is built in Indonesia. Ash body. It's got the staggered frets, and I think these are the nickel frets. I think it's that natto wood or some sort of. It's not quite rosewood. It's sort of in that sort of family. As I've been playing it, the actual wear from my fingers has made it redder than it actually was when I first got it, and that's starting to look more attractive. That sort of red against the black. Because it's staggered, it's got actually the REMG pickups, but they're sort of meant for like an 8-string guitar. The bridge is the saddles, which are sort of screwed into the body, and then it's actually stringed through. Battery compartment on the back. They're sort of okay, but you can kind of see how the hardware, it's just in order to get the price point down a bit more, some economies have been made here, and I have been thinking about maybe upgrading these saddles, just to improve the sustain and things like that. Volume, tone. It's a 3-way blade switch on this one. It's like a nitro finish, and I got this one. It was an ex-demo guitar, and it started to wear a bit. You can actually see some of the ash coming through, and for that reason, those bits of battle damage, I think it looks a bit cooler that way. On the back, we call it a 5-piece neck. Maple, I think it's walnut, maple, walnut, maple, walnut, maple. You've got the all-access joint on the back, which is standard on most Ibanez guitars these days. RG shape, of course. Tuners are sort of, they're not actually labelled as anything, but you'll see these on a lot of the actual Indonesian guitars, and the volute here as well, which is very useful. I don't actually see a visible scarf joint in that as well, which that's interesting, because it looks like they've actually just sandwiched the wood there and then cut the neck on a CNC machine and shaped it, and but it's very solid. It's got like a satin finish on the back. Originally, I don't know whether you've actually seen the video about when I got this. I was getting into those electroharmonic, the synth pedals, things like the Synth 9 and those 2 organ pedals, the B9 and the C9. So I just wanted something like for the extra depth. But I have been using this a lot, and also because of this, the fan frets. There's a reason to that, because it's like, the lower string is in like a standard Strat tuning, 25.5, and the next one goes up a bit more, and then up a bit, and then up a bit, until you're down to, I think it's 27.5 inches for the low B string. But you know, like as I was saying, originally I got it for like the guitar SID. So I'm just going to give you a quick demo of that. So we'll plug in. Let's see, we're on, and so that's clean. Yeah. So this is the string 9 pedal, and the FX40, which is the yeah. But of course you can use it like a you know, with all that. If you really wanted to do that. Yeah. So for the time being, that's the Ibanez. Moving on to the Schecter. Yeah, because I did demo this the other day, so you will have seen this one recently. So yeah, I mean it's still black, bat inlays of course, which is I do think that's wonderful. It's got a bit of binding on the fretboard. They look to be steel frets. I could be wrong with that, but you know the jumbo. You know, even though the Ibanez has the jumbo frets, this one has jumbo frets as well. But they do actually look like the steel. EMG pickups again, but these are for a 7-string, not for an 8-string. The switch is the toggle. It's a 3-way toggle switch. Volume and tone. Tune-o-matic style bridge, and again string 3 body. But I actually prefer the tune-o-matic over the way that the way that the saddles are on that Ibanez, because like the hardware on the Ibanez, it does seem to let it down a bit. So you know, even though it sustains, I know there could be a much better sound in the Ibanez. I just haven't quite found it yet. Then there's sort of like some binding here as well. It's got like a matte finish. It's either a through neck or a set neck. I'm not sure which at the moment. Perhaps if you know this model, you'll be able to tell me. It's also 4 on the top, 3 on the bottom, like the Ibanez is. But of course the neck shape is slightly different. The nuts seem to be very, very similar, except of course the Ibanez one is going to be a bit longer, but it looks very similar material. I'll give you some sounds. Yeah, so that's plugged in. So yeah, and the body material is like mahogany. I'm not sure whether it's got a maple cap or not. I don't think it has. And I think it might be a mahogany neck as well. So it's a much mellower sounding guitar, this one. So I'll do the synth first, like I did with the last one. And we'll just play that chord. So the neck's a bit thicker on the on the Schecter. When you get into overdriven territory though with this one, because of the mahogany, it sounds a lot more like an SG or something like that. You know, like so you know, just give you some of that one. Forget what key I was in then. And the sustain. Yeah. So I mean, I think the you know, like having the through neck and this bridge, I think that's really like improved like the sustain of things. It's a lot darker in tone. But you know, just turn the amp off a second. So yeah, just plug here. So, to be honest, coming back, yeah. So the Ibanez, it has got that sort of Ibanez Wizard style neck, even though it's got the fan frets on it. This one's a lot easier to play than this one. This one you have to work a bit harder. I find this one seems to be more suited for the EHX pedals, you know, like that string 9. I don't know why that is just yet. And of course, you know, with having the fan frets, you've got the discipline as well. You know, you have to think about where your fingers are going, and any excuse for a double entendre. But yeah, no, you have to think about your notes a bit better on this. It doesn't have the binding, but it's a much more basic guitar for that very reason. You know, it's just, you know, stripped down to its bare essentials. Who are again with a double entendres. I've got to stop this. You know, it's just basically, it's just like a very good go-to guitar. Like I was saying, I prefer it for the synth stuff, but you can do like the you know, the heavier stuff if you really want to. This one I do think is more suited for just overdriven. You know, basically it does what it says on the tin. Basically, to use that phrase, that old cliche. It's because I think it's when you play it, you kind of actually feel it. You know, because it's because of like the resonance of the body. You actually feel it in yourself. You know, I'm trying not to do another double entendre there, but you know, it's you know, it's a very gutsy guitar. Like I say, it reminds me a lot more like, it's like it does sound to me, it's like an SG. Of course, the EMG pickups are going to make a bit of a difference, but it has that sort of similar sort of vibe to an SG about it, even though it's a 7-string. And I mean, I was talking about this in the comments recently on that last video about, you know, like, well, is having that 7-string, isn't it just a gimmick? You know, it just because you can go down to the low B, and like a lot of those gent and metal bands, you know, even though they've got these like sort of high-end signature guitars, you know, where you, like you and me, will have to spend like $3 or $4 grand to get one, they just seem to be just going on like the B string, which might be tuned down even lower, and not actually doing very much with it. Whereas you know, you go back to, you know, like what Steve Vai was doing, you know, with on that Passion and Warfare album, you know, when he actually you know, devised that, you know, him and Ibanez, you know, devised that Universe guitar. and he just wanted just a few more, you know, sort of tonal possibilities, you know. But in that sense, you know, like having the B, it gives you, you can use it like a drone, you know, and you can, you know, you can then play against it. You know, you can leave like the B. You don't have to tune it to B. You can tune it to whatever you like, and it gives you, you know, like a drone, so you can do all kinds of sort of pedal point type things, and you know, and so forth. And of course, you know, because it's tuned to B, this note's a C, so that puts you in sort of like cello sort of type tuning. And I always feel, you know, like compared with, I mean, you know, yeah, I mean, I do have a fair bit of like classical influence in what I'm doing, and like fusiony type stuff influences what I'm doing. But I'm trying to get away from, like, you know, trying to sound like sort of 80s era hair metal or Yngwie Malmsteen or a lot of those sort of Mike Varney type players. Yeah, those shrapnel type players. Because I think I feel more of an affinity for something like the cello. You know, because it probably, you know, it's a more sort of masculine voice. You know. I mean, my voice, I feel, is sort of in that sort of tenor, sort of baritone voice. If I try, I'm not quite Barry White, no, but you know, like compared with, say, like listening to like the violin is more, I think, more like a feminine. You know, it's like it almost sounds like I mean, they actually used to say this in you know, the 19th century about how it, you know, it used to sound like a female voice. You know, like as if they you know, like they killed sort of soprano singers or whatever, and like their spirits have been caught up in the violin, or, you know, or whatnot. But you know, for that reason, you know, like it's sort of, you know, because you've got that low, you know, you've got that depth, and of course, you know, playing the guitar synths, you've got the possibility, you know, that you could have another guitarist in the band, and you could be covering the you know, like the keyboard sections, and then dropping into sort of playing guitar, you know, as and when it was needed. I mean, I'd like to explore some more of these 7 strings. I mean, there's those Strandberg ones. They've actually got like the, not just like the staggered frets, but, you know, like is it called true intonation or something like that. So they're staggered, but they're sort of crooked as well in different parts. So like the intonation is supposed to be a lot closer, but they are very expensive, you know. So for the time being, I haven't actually got one. If you could send me one, I'd very much appreciate that. But yeah, I just wanted to actually just give you the rundown, you know, because like I say, maybe you're thinking of getting a 7 string, and maybe you're sort of like, because you know, you've been put off by a lot of like the sort of the gent and the metal guys. You might have, you know, just completely ruled it out, but, you know, from an orchestral point of view, I think you can do a lot more with it. So so that's really all I want to say. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and please comment below. Please consider subscribing as well, as always. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Alright, thanks for watching.